Hey guys, it's Tabansio here again, and today we are going to be making a sleeveless mesh top, and I'm going to be taking you guys step by step on how I created this piece, and I am so happy to show you guys. Before we get into it, please, if you have not subscribed, please do so and share this video with your friends, like, comment, just so the algorithm will know that we are here. I won't waste much of your time anymore. Let's get into it.
So I'm making a sleeveless mesh top, and this is how I want the fitting to be on me when I'm done.
So we start by marking out the vertical line, that is for the shoulder, the chest, the half length and the full length. Then we proceed to draw the horizontal lines according to the measurements that we have. Also, don't forget to add your sewn allowances. As you can see, I already have my shoulder drop, which is 2 inches from the tip of the line drawn for the shoulder. Also, I have left 3 inches for the neck measurement. This is also where the line for the shoulder drop starts from. After that, I proceeded to join the vertical lines. This includes the armhole and the full length. Because of how experienced I am, I use freehand to draw the armhole curve, but I recommend you using a French curve if you're a beginner to avoid mistakes. Because the human body is not straight, please add some curves when you are drawing down the line from the chest to the half length to the full length. Here is an example of what I mean. Next is joining the neck curve. Remember earlier we left 3 inches for the neck. Now we're going to measure down 2.5 inches. Again, because of experience, I can join the neck using freehand, but I advise you use a French curve to get the measurement you're looking for. One thing to note is at the end of the day, when you're done drawing the curve, both for the back and the front, the measurement you get from the two should be equal to the actual measurement of your neck. Finishing is key, so don't forget to leave a half inch or 1 inch below your full length for the folding of the fabric to avoid the fabric from fraying, and also just to give it a general appearance of a finished look. Since I have done everything necessary, I proceed to cutting out the front pattern. So this is how I cut my back pattern. Because the front pattern is somewhat similar to the back pattern, you place the front pattern on the back. Because the human body is not equal, you make provisions for the curve on the shoulder. From the tip of the shoulder that you measure for the front, you mark out 3.5 inches upwards. This 3.5 inches makes provision for the sewing allowance that you didn't add on the front pattern. So when you sew them together, you get the same measurement. So after you've measured out the 3.5 inches, you would fold it to the front pattern. It goes in by half an inch into the front pattern. After you've done that, go to the point where the front panel aligns, and then you would carve out the neck for your back. After you're done with the neck, you go to the shoulder and then do the same thing. Make sure it aligns properly so that it will give you the exact measurement that you're looking for your armhole. So when you're done with that, you would cut out the line that you drafted from the front pattern to give you the back. Make sure you cut according to the lines, because any slight change in the measurement will give you a different result. So when you're done with that, you should have something like this. The next step is to place the front pattern on the fabric. Make sure that you fold the fabric in a way that it does not leave an opening in front, because everything needs to be closed, because it's more like a t-shirt. So when you're done with that, you would cut out the front panel, and then you do the same thing for the back. So when you're done, you should have something like this. Finally, it's time to sew. I start by joining the two shoulders. Make sure that as you are sewing, you are drawing the fabric so that it makes room for the stretch of the fabric, because the mesh fabric is very stretchy. If you don't, the thread will tear as you're putting it on, because it will be so rigid and not have allowance for the stretchiness of the fabric. So before you sew, make sure that you pin the fabrics together so that at the end of the day everything becomes proportional. You wouldn't want the front to be longer than the back. After that, I now proceed to join the two sides of the body. I sew on each side, making sure that I stretch it as I sew so as to avoid it from tearing and also making allowance for the stretchiness of the fabric. Please note, using a normal sewing machine works, but if you can, I would recommend that you would weave. So even if the thread tears, you can still have the weave support, because normally weaving makes allowance for the stretchiness of fabric and then it doesn't tear easily.
So far, this is the progress on the mesh top. If you can remember, I wanted this to be fitted, so it's looking the way I want it to look right now. So the next step is to fix the neck and also do some finishing, and then we are done. Very simple.
Now for the neck, I am going to be folding my fabric to get a width of 0.5 and also be leaving a 0.5 inch allowance. So together it's going to be 1 inch. And also for the length, I measured the exact measurement of my neck, which is 16 inches, and that will be the length of the neck. After you measure that out, you pin the two fabrics together so that you get an even result when after you cut. So I'm going to have the full width of the collar to be 1 inch and the full length to be 16. Also, don't forget to leave a sewing allowance of 0.5 inches on both sides so that when you sew them both together, it's going to give you the exact 16-inch measurement. When you're done cutting the neck, it should look something like this. Then you sew both ends together and attach it to your shirt. Note, make sure that you draw as you're sewing so as to make allowance for the stretchiness of the fabric, because if you don't and you try wearing this shirt, the threads will keep on snapping and then it would end up ruining what you've created. For the armhole, because I want it to be sleeveless, I am going to fold it in by 0.5 inches just to give it a finished look. So when you are done doing that, it should look something like this. So for the lower part, I am not going to be sewing it in because I don't think there's any need for it. Rather, I'll be taking it to the weavers to give it a more finished look and also finish off the sides and the neck that is looking a bit rough. So basically that is it. For now, I am going to be trying it on to show you all how the final result looks like.
Hi guys, so this is the finished look. Yeah, it was so neat and I'm so proud of myself for doing this. Guess what? Some friends invited me out for an eventful evening, and tonight I am taking it out for a test drive. I'm going to rock this, hopefully get more compliments, and you never know. Wish me luck.